Today we're going to talk about synthesis writing. So what do I mean by synthesis? Synthesis occurs when you read information about a single topic from multiple sources, and then you start to get a more complete and accurate idea and opinion about that topic. So at this point in your research, you have read from quite a few sources, and as you synthesize, what that essay will look like is you bringing those sources together in a conversation. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Synthesis writing is taking that information and bringing it together, basically. So why should we synthesize? When you begin to synthesize, you start to get a better idea of that topic from a variety of viewpoints. So it's important to be able to analyze that information from different sources so you get a complete idea. If we're only looking at something from one point of view, then it could look flat. So if we're looking at the Earth and we only ever look at it forward, it's going to look like it is flat. Versus if we continue to look around the Earth and at the bottom of the Earth and the top of the Earth and from this angle and this angle and this angle, then you start to realize that, oh, it is actually round. Right? So that same idea applies here to synthesis. And at the bottom of this page, you just have a couple of ways to integrate quotes into your writing, some strong verbs to show agreement, disagreement, just little helpful pieces. So let's look now at your research piece. So going back to those research notes that I had read a bunch of different pieces about Mars and the moon to show you an example. Here's where knowing your subtopics is going to come in handy. So what's going to happen is you're going to go through your notes, and I want you to color code anything that comes up and overlaps. So let's say exploration. I'm going to color code exploration in purple because I like purple. So I'm just going to go through, and then you're going to hopefully start to see where these pieces overlap. So I have exploration in that first article, but then I also have exploration again from a different viewpoint in this second article. And even further down, there's a different piece on exploration, right? So then what I would want to do is come all the way down here, exploration, and then I could type and bring all those purple pieces down. Keep in mind, you want to make sure you know where that piece is coming from, because it's going to be important to cite it later on. So you might want to add in the citation at the end, let's say super, and then copy and paste that piece down below. And then as you start to gather those pieces around each topic, you're going to start to see patterns. You'll start to notice what pieces occur a lot, like budget seems to be talked about quite a bit in these last two articles, but it's not really mentioned in that first article, although it does talk a little bit about the cost. So I could group currently my paper around, if we want to go to Mars and, you know, the impact of the moon landing and the budget, I can group those around exploration, talking about the budget, and talking about the impact the moon landing has on future missions, right? So knowing those subtopics is super helpful. So if you haven't done that, I would go through and put in subtopics and then start to group your pieces of information. So once you see those groups of information, hopefully you can start to formulate your essay, and we'll walk through that next piece. So what I want you to do, one, if you have not done the subtopics, do those. That's going to be very, very helpful. Two, go through, highlight, color code in some manner your different pieces of information and start to group those together. Okay? And we will check in for the next step.